the Miami Heat will need to find a way to survive a challenging early season schedule without one of its best players. With the Heat set to hold its annual media day on September 29th before opening training camp on September 30th at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Heat guard Tyler Harrow is expected to miss around 8 weeks after undergoing surgery on his left ankle Friday. This timetable has Harrow potentially returning in mid to late November. For perspective, the Heat plays its 14th game of the regular season on November 17th against the New York Knicks in Miami. Harrow is coming off the best season of his 6-year NBA career, averaging career highs in points, 23.9 points per game, and assists, 5.5 per game, while shooting a career-best 47.2% from the field last regular season. He also shot an impressive 37.5% on 8.7 three-point attempts per game, while playing in a career-high 77 games, all starts, last regular season after never reaching the 70-game mark. How will the Heat fill this void while Harrow is sidelined? Here's a look at how Harrow's absence affects the other guards on Miami's standard roster. Kasparas Giacchionis, the Heat's 19-year-old rookie, is an option to fill minutes at the guard spot with Harrow out, but the drawback of playing Giacchionis early in his first NBA season is his lack of experience at this level. It's clear if Giacchionis will need some time to develop his game before reaching his full potential. Giacchionis, who the Heat selected with the 20th pick in the first round of this year's NBA draft, averaged 9.5 points, 2.8 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 3.7 turnovers per game, while shooting 14 of 44, 31.8%, from the field and 6 of 28, 21.4%, from three-point range in 6 appearances during his uneven summer league showing. The Heat will likely turn to a few of its more experienced guards ahead of Giacchionis early this season, even with Harrow out. Kyle Larson, entering his second NBA season since being taken by the Heat in the second round of last year's draft, Larson was already projected as a potential rotation player before Harrow's surgery. But now Larson could play a bigger role. Larson, 24, is coming off a busy and productive offseason, starring for the Heat's Summer League team and then impressing with Sweden's national team in the Eurobasket 2025 tournament. Larson averaged a team-high 18.8 points per game on 45.5% shooting from the field and 8 of 31, 25.8% shooting from three-point range to go with 4.4 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and 1.2 steals per game for Sweden in 5 Eurobasket appearances. For the Heat, Larson won't be relied on to be one of its top players. But Larson's ability to draw fouls and get to the basket paired with his physical defense and hustle make him an intriguing role player for Miami. Without Harrow, Larson could play more minutes off the Heat's bench than expected during the first few weeks of the season. But Larson needs to continue to improve as a three-point shooter. Davion Mitchell. After being moved to Miami during last season's mid-season Jimmy Butler trade, Mitchell turned in one of the best sustained stretches of his NBA career. Mitchell, 27, averaged 10.3 points, 2.7 rebounds, 5.3 assists, and 1.4 steals per game, while shooting 50.4% from the field and 44.7% on 3.1 three-point attempts per game in 30 regular season appearances, 15 starts, with the Heat. That was enough to get the Heat to re-sign Mitchell in free agency this summer. While Mitchell might have begun this season as a reserve if Harrow was healthy, the expectation is Mitchell will start alongside Norman Powell in the Heat's backcourt while Harrow is sidelined. Mitchell is not the scorer that Harrow and Powell are, but Mitchell does serve as another ball handler who can put pressure on the rim while also providing a quality on-ball defensive presence. Norman Powell. The Heat's thinking behind trading for Powell this offseason was to add another quality scoring option to take some of the offensive burden off Harrow. But with Harrow out for at least the first month of the regular season, Powell will be relied on to fill most of Harrow's scoring void and absorb a large chunk of Harrow's on-ball usage while he's sidelined. Powell, 32, seems up for the task after averaging a career-high 21.8 points per game last season for the Los Angeles Clippers. Powell was one of only 6 NBA players who averaged at least 21 points per game, while shooting better than 48% from the field and better than 40% from three-point range last regular season, along with Nikola Jokic, Kevin Durant, Karl Anthony Towns, Zach LaVine, and Kawhi Leonard. While there were questions whether Powell or Mitchell would start alongside Harrow in the Heat's backcourt this season, it appears to be a lock that Powell will be one of the Heat's starting guards on opening night now that Harrow is unavailable. Terry Rozier. A spot in the Heat's rotation is far from guaranteed for Roier, who is coming off arguably the worst season of his NBA career. However, Harrow's absence creates a bigger opportunity for Roier to earn some early season playing time. But Roier has a lot to prove this preseason, as he began last season as a Heat starter and was expected to be one of the team's top offensive players before completely falling out of the Heat's rotation toward the end of the season. Roier, 31, was one of only 4 players in the NBA who shot worse than 40% from the field and worse than 30% on threes while playing in at least 60 games last regular season. Roier, who is on an expiring contract with a $26.6 million salary for this upcoming season, is also being investigated by federal prosecutors to determine whether he manipulated his performance as part of an illegal sports betting scheme in a March 2023 game while he was with the Charlotte Hornets. As expected, the Miami Heat guaranteed another season on the rookie scale contracts of forward Jamie Jaquez Jr. and center Kel'el Ware, a league source confirmed Tuesday. Jaquez, who was taken by the Heat with the 18th pick in the first round of the 2023 draft, had the $5.9 million fourth-year option in his rookie deal picked up for the 2026-27 season. He will then become a restricted free agent in the 2027 offseason unless he agrees to an extension with the Heat prior to that summer. Ware, who was selected by the Heat with the 15th pick in the first round of the 2024 draft, had the $4.7 million third-year option in his rookie contract picked up for the 2026-27 season. Next offseason, the Heat will need to decide on the $7.1 million fourth-year option in Ware's contract for the 2027-28 season. Jaquez, 24, and Ware, 21, were already under contract for this upcoming season. Jaquez will earn $3.9 million, and Ware will earn $4.4 million this season. After picking up the options on Jaquez and Ware, the Heat now has 9 players under contract for the 2026-27 season. Bam Adebayo, Tyler Harrow, Andrew Wiggins, player option, Davion Mitchell, Jaquez, Ware, Kasparas Jakushionis, Drew Smith, non-guaranteed, and Pelle Larsson, team option. Jaquez and Ware have become a part of the Heat's recent youth movement, with Jaquez named to the NBA's All-Rookie First Team for the 2023-24 season, and Ware earning a spot on the NBA's All-Rookie Second Team for last season. But Jaquez is coming off a rough season. His production dipped across the board last season following a standout rookie year. Jaquez averaged fewer points, 8.6 per game last season compared to 11.9 per game the previous season, while shooting a worse percentage from the field, 46.1% last season compared to 48.9% the previous season, and three-point range, 31.1% last season compared to 32.2% the previous season. Last regular season than the previous regular season. He also averaged 4.4 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and 0.9 steals per game in 66 regular season appearances, 17 starts, in his second NBA season. Whereas hoping to continue the momentum he built last season. He made tremendous progress as a rookie, earning consistent minutes, and then being promoted to a starting role in January after logging double-digit minutes in just 2 of the Heat's first 25 games last regular season. The 7-foot Ware started next to the 6'9" Adebayo to form a double-big lineup for the final 3 months of the season. After being moved into a full-time starting role, Ware averaged 10.7 points, 9.7 rebounds, 1.2 assists, and 1.2 blocks per game, while shooting 54.4% from the field and 21 of 76, 27.6%, on threes during his final 38 regular season appearances last season. That mid-season push was enough for Ware to finish as the top vote-getter on the NBA's All-Rookie Second Team, closing just 1 spot from making the All-Rookie First Team. The Heat had until October 31st to decide on the rookie scale options of Jaquez and Ware. The Heat is set to hold its annual media day on Monday before opening training camp on September 30th at Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton to kick off the 2025-26 season. The countdown to the start of NBA training camp has begun, and there's still a chance the Miami Heat could pursue a former All-Star to add to their roster. With the chance that they could still part ways with Terry Rozier before reporting to camp, according to a recent report, you can't help but wonder if that could push them toward giving Russell Westbrook another look. Westbrook is still a free agent and theoretically fills a role that the Heat may need at the point guard position. He'd be a relatively cheap option, and the Heat have been linked to Russ before. If Miami does end up cutting Rozier loose, Russ can't be completely considered off the table for the Heat. While the signing of Russ would bring in a name that the fan base can resonate with, it'd certainly be a calculated risk for the Heat. Heat's interest in Westbrook could be a mistake. On paper, Russ is still relatively productive at this late stage of his career. In 75 games played last season with the Denver Nuggets, Russ averaged 13 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds per game on 45% shooting from the field. Not bad. If the Heat is looking for a productive backup guard off the bench, Russ wouldn't be a terrible option. The biggest issue that the Heat could run into by signing Russ revolves around the idea that he would be taking minutes away from other young guards on the Heat. While, in theory, Russ may be a better option from a pure production standpoint, the Heat should be prioritizing development this season. Maybe that's why the Heat ultimately decide against a move for Russ. Other free agents on the Heat's radar. Aside from Russ, there's reason to believe that there could be a couple of other free agents on Miami's radar. They reportedly worked out Kai Jones a few weeks ago, and he remains unsigned. The Heat were also tied to Precious Achiuwa, who is another big man who could help beef up the team's frontcourt. The expectation is that the Heat will eventually sign a veteran, more than likely one to help out Bam Adebayo and Kel'el Ware in the frontcourt, but the overwhelming expectation was that it would come later on in the season. That could change if the Heat does elect to move on from Rozier before the start of training camp or the regular season. If that does happen, there are a few veteran names who could get the call-up from the Heat. Russ, for better or worse, could be on the short list of players in the mix.